I started, I started in public practice in 2008, and I started this firm in 2011. And when I started this firm, I already had the belief that filing personal tax returns was going away in 2011. And, when I'm looking at like what sort of work that we're going to pursue and what sort of work I don't want to pursue, it's like, I didn't want to pursue personal tax returns, like simple personal tax returns. It just seemed like a dying business. And, I remember saying, it's like, well, I think this completely disappears in 10 years. I guess I was wrong. Here we are 14 years later, and we're talking about the beginning of the end, I guess, right? But, it's lasted this long, which to me was surprising, right? And, on a context, so if someone's, sitting there in the comments is like, well, maybe this is just a salty accountant at personal tax filing revenue is going away. It's like, this makes zero change to our business and what we do.
Yeah,
because like we've been rejecting personal tax returns, simple personal tax returns since the beginning of time. Like that's not what we do here. So, but for some context on around the world, it's like, why did I think it was disappearing? It's, I got some dates here. So France had this in 2006. France had automatic filing in 2006. Germany had automatic filing in 2010. Italy in 2015. And get this is the funniest one.
Okay.
Japan has been automatically filing their tax returns since the 90s. Like they literally just send out a postcard saying, here's your tax return. If you have an adjustment, let us know, right? Like, so the fact that we still have these simple personal tax returns is actually kind of comical, right? It's actually kind of comical, and on principle, I'm actually for automatic filing of tax returns. Like it's so inefficient that we don't. I can remember it's like when you start learning how to file tax returns, and it's like you're a rookie, and this was before the automatic file days,
right.
so before the automatic import days. Now we can import the slips into the software. But I'm old enough to remember it's like we didn't actually have that capability where we as the juniors had to type all of those slips in manually in the tax software, and it was just a painstaking process. And just thinking to myself, it's like, wait a minute, these are the slips that are already filed with the government, and then I have to retype them into this software to send them the numbers that they already knew about. Like that whole process is just bizarre, right?
And we can't ignore the almost predatory practice of filing tax returns for low-income people.
Yes.
Right?
So it was like, me as a naive rookie at one time, it's like, well, why is this taking place, right? Now as a little more perspective when you get older, it's like, I know darn well why this takes place, right? Because the big tax preparers have been lobbying the governments for years to avoid it, so they can stop siphoning this unnecessary process from people.
Millions and millions of dollars that they take from low-income people who are filing their tax returns.
Yeah. So, and this is not a conspiracy. Like this is like widely known. And so we'll just point you to the screen, right now. It's like H&R Block. It's like, the CEO is he's the president. He's a registered lobbyist with the government of Canada, and it details all of their meetings with the government of Canada to lobby against automatic electronic filing. And this has been going on for a very long time. That there was a formal lobby group put together. They formalized it in 2018. So that's 7 years ago. They were lobbying even before that, but they formalized the lobby group, and they called it the Tax Filer Empowerment Canada. It sounds good. Tax Filer Empowerment Canada. Yeah. So you realize like what they're trying to do and who's on it. H&R Block, of course, Northwest Tax, Thomson Reuters. For those of you who don't know what is Thomson Reuters, they sell tax filing software, people. So I mean, that's one of the arms of the business of many arms of the Thomson Reuters group. So Cloud Tax, Myers Norris Penny. Come on, guys. Liberty Tax. Okay. the American Coalition for Taxpayer Rights. Interesting, right? And so who do you think funds them? It's like, Intuit and H&R Block too. It's like cross funding. So because if it caught on in Canada, it might catch on in the US too, because there's, Canada, the US, the UK, they've resisted what we could call any sort of intelligence on this issue, and we've insisted on this inefficient process. Intuit, the makers of TurboTax and QuickBooks, and Wolters Kluwer, again, tax filing software manufacturer, another big one. FBC, kind of a rural version of H&R Block, if you will. Taxtron, TaxCycle, more tax filing software, right? So they're lobbying the government not to help you so they can keep selling their software to be used in unnecessary processes, right?
And let's be clear about lobbying a little bit. So lobbying, basically, these people, get together and they're talking to government officials, MPs, lawmakers, and they say, hey, basically it's not a bribe, but it's kind of a bribe. Right? It's like, we'll fund your campaigns. This is what we're hoping to see in the next, set of bills and laws that come out. We want to protect this.
Whatever you do, don't make tax filing easier for poor people.
Yeah. Whatever you do, please
don't make tax filing easier for poor people.
It's a good cash cow, let's just keep this thing rolling. Why do we need to change it? Why do we need to change it, guys? Right?
And you think about the fees, it's like some of this is like super predatory, right? There's a process called discounting. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, it's like you think you just go in and pay a fee at these places to file taxes. There's something called discounting where they charge you a fee to file the taxes, but then they're also going to discount your refund. Okay. So a lot of, people in low income situations, it's like they need that money now. They're very desperate, and they sign over their refund to the person who prepared it. And in exchange, the person who prepared it, they give them cash up front, and then the person who prepared it gets their refund, but they take 15% of the first $300 and 5% after that, just for money that they're going to get in another week or two. Like it's a very quick process of when they're actually going to get that refund, right? And this has been going on for years, decades. Decades. When you look at France starting this in 2006 and Japan doing it since the 90s, we've known about this for a very long time, right? I was just surprised it's taken this long to get here. So if someone is to tell me the premise is like, well, now we just started caring about those low income people, this is the reason why we're doing it, because now in 2025 we finally realized that this was a problem when we started caring. It's like, that's not the reason, right? In principle, I'm for automatic filing. It's just the timing of this is really, really suspicious.
What are the 5 most, dangerous words? I'm from the government. I'm here to help. That kind of thing.
I'm from the government. I'm here to help with your automatic tax filing, right?
We're going to help you guys. They're not going to help you.
Okay, so there are a lot of situations where it's like entirely appropriate, right? And so the question is like, why now? Why now is the question. And I want you to read right from the Prime Minister's website. It's like starting automatic federal benefits. Automatic federal benefits. Okay. For the 2026 year, that will reach up to 5.5 million low income Canadians. At what point where if it's 10 million Canadians, if it's 10 out of 40, is that really low income then? Or is that just like the income of Canadians, right? Like how big does that subset have to group have to get?
How low does your income need to be to get your automatic benefits?
Yeah. So, Canadians, by the 2028 tax year, the CRA will automatically file these individuals' taxes to ensure they receive government benefits they qualify for, such as GST, HST credit, the Canada Child Benefit, the Canada Disability Benefit, and more, including benefits that these Canadians may not be aware they are entitled to. UBI.
UBI. Well, and then also talking about the DEI component. So if you're a person of color, Indigenous, whatever, there's special benefits that you may not be aware that you're entitled to have.
So why now? Why now? They've known about this problem for years. They've known about, it's not just like a problem, inefficiency. It was like an out in the open predatory practice. of, an unnecessary step for low income individuals. Okay. So like, why now? It's like, well, you look at the latest stats at the CRA. Half of the calls aren't answered at all. The average wait time for a call is like 3.5 hours. So like they're completely like unable to do the job that they're doing now at the existing level, right? And do we see any reprieve whatsoever? It's like, no, the scale of these benefits, and I call them benefits. I mean, that term is used loosely. The scale of these cash disbursements, I'm not going to call them benefits because they're not a benefit. You can't run a deficit and provide a benefit. It doesn't work that way. You have to print fake money and just disperse it, right? The scale of these disbursements is going to increase, and they know it. And that's the only logical explanation. The premise that we suddenly care about low-income Canadians and this is for them is ridiculous, because it's been insane that this hasn't been rolled out for years at this point, well beyond the curve of a lot of other modernized countries, other than the ones who are beholden to the lobby groups who have tried to resist it. That's the only way. So they know that they can't keep up with the scale of benefits now, people on social programs. There's no way they're going to be able to keep up with the benefits, the calls and the processing in the future. Okay. Like, this is coming, people. Like, this is coming. The scale of those disbursements is going to increase. And that is the reason why this is being rolled out, right? And so you have to think, it's like we pointed at this in the past. It's like we have these like large scale unfunded social safety nets. Okay, we have CPP, we have OAS. Okay, we don't have that money. Okay, if it was accounted for like a private pension, it's in the CPP notes. We've shown it to you before. It's like $1.3 trillion underfunded. They don't actually have the money. Okay. The OAS, it's just a tax, right? It's been propped up temporarily by new workers. But the destruction of that is going to happen because primarily we've imported largely unskilled workers to do low-level jobs, and we've also simultaneously, they're supposedly executing the work required to deliver the social safety net to people who have exited the workforce. A lot of them before they needed to, but they exited the workforce, and we've guaranteed them a social safety net too. But the problem is, a lot of them have, we've guaranteed them a social safety net, so we've, basically it's another layer of the Ponzi, and a lot of the low skilled workers that we've brought in, it's like the writing's on the wall. These things are getting automated, people. Like, these jobs are going to get automated, and so they've plugged the hole temporarily. As bad as it is right now, it's like they plugged the hole temporarily on that with people doing these low-level jobs and paying taxes. But what happens when 1 million people in Canada who either drive for Skip the Dishes or Uber, when you only need 100,000 of them? What do you think happens to the other 900,000 of them? It's like
they sit at home.
Automatic benefits, and their tax returns are automatically filed. Like, they can't process those calls. They know this is coming. Okay, and so they can't have mass chaos. So they know that these benefits are going to need to be processed. Okay, they know it's already at the breaking point at CRA trying to deal with it now, and they know there's no reprieve in sight. And the argument that they suddenly care about low-income Canadians, like, to me, it just doesn't hold any water, because we've seen the history of the lobby, like, being completely beholden to the lobby groups until now.
Yeah. So the writing is on the wall, basically. Things are getting worse progressively. They say that, we're going to make the best decisions for Canadians, and this is to help you, but they're never here to help you. So the other thing that triggers in my mind is, look at what's happening with gold, with Bitcoin, with stocks, the money supply. All these things are kind of, canaries in the coal mine.
Gold's the canary.
Showing us
Gold's
what's going on here.
And I've been sounding the drum since 2022. You know, when was the first time I started buying gold or Bitcoin? It's like guys, the numbers are cooked. Like the writing's on the wall. Like this thing is completely unsustainable. We're going to have massive inflation. It's the only way out with the government spending and the current debt load. Like it's just the only way out of this thing. And you can see gold going absolutely vertical. You know, I'll pull up the chart that, you know, I look at almost every morning. And 1971, this is the start of our basically our financial regime when Nixon takes the US dollar off the gold standard. And it's like, this is the 5,000 year asset that's supposed to store wealth, and it's gone vertical. Governments around the world know that, and this is what is causing this is central banks around the world who sell U.S. treasuries and buy gold. Like that is the big, you know, money. It's not retail investors lined up at Costco. I know you think that's what's happening, but like, yeah, does that drive the price? It does marginally, okay? But the real money is central banks around the world selling their $38 trillion worth of U.S. bonds and buying gold. That's what's really moving the needle here, okay? And you know, we're in these stages where, you know, the government is telling you what's going to come. They're telling you they're bringing in automatic filing. Now, if you're living in Never Land, I guess you can believe they suddenly care about low income Canadians. But if you're in the real world like me, it's like, and you think that they never cared about them up to this point, why in 2025? It's like because they can't keep up with the scope of benefits that they have right now, and they know it's going to increase exponentially.
They're going to keep printing the money. They have to in order to. So otherwise there'd be revolt and things are going to become more expensive. You think groceries are expensive now and fuel is expensive now. Just wait. It's going to get worse.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's another layer of this where people are going to get lost too. The other layer is they're going to think that just because it's filed, it's right. Okay. In simple circumstances, it's right. But so there's going to be other people who out there in more complex circumstances who are just going to say, well, there's nothing I can do. The government files it for you anyways. It's like, there's actually a lot you can do. Okay. And so like we've never built our business on filing returns. Like the filing of the return is kind of ancillary to the work that we actually do for people. I tell people, it's like once you get to the end of the year, it's like the number kind of is the number. There's a few things that we can do, but most of the stuff we could have done was at the beginning of the year. It's the decisions you made leading up to there. Mm-hmm. So it's probably going to create an even bigger disconnect from people actually understanding how taxes work and actually, you know, how you should earn income and how you should structure your assets and how, you know, what you should buy and the debt you should take on and how that actually works in your overall tax plan, because people are going to become even more disconnected because it won't even be an event that they have to look at or pay someone for once a year. Mm-hmm. And so that's a problem, right? Because I would tell you that 99% of the people filing the taxes anyways have no idea how it really works. They just know what that report card says at the end, and they understand the one tax, which is the income tax, how that's calculated, but they really don't understand how to minimize that or the other forms of taxes you pay, especially the inflation tax, which is very real. Okay. So most people, they're going to become even more disconnected from the process to learn, right? And so the first part is that you need to arm yourself with how this thing actually works, because the complexity was not in the filing. The complexity is how you actually arrange your life to actually reduce that rate of taxation. That was the complexity. That's where the strategy came in. The filing was, kind of, silly, right? Like perfunctory, right? And I remember it was either like last year or the year before, the auto-populate function from CRA stopped functioning. And and my team we had employees like entering slips like old school. They were complaining so much. And I was like, that's how I remember doing it when I was when I was your age. It's like we had to file that in, but it was a mini scale disaster because we didn't have that much time allocated to file that, because that's not our primary function here. We expected the computer program at CRA to work with our program, and the CRA program started breaking down, right? But so in some respects, the automatic filing is it's a good thing, okay, but I don't think it's being done for the good reasons.
No,
I don't think it's been done because they suddenly said we care about poor Canadians and we want to see these big companies making a bunch of money off of unnecessary stuff. I just think that they know that they've hit the breaking point and there's no way out at this point. And those benefits, i.e., fake money disbursements, are going to increase to a breakneck pace that will just completely break the system, and that's what's coming.